Hello there, this is Christie Lewis at the Lakeport branch of the Lake County Library, and today I am here with a book haul for you of books that you can use to build your own book club right here in Lake County. Maybe you want to start planning one for after the pandemic, or maybe you want to host a digital one. Either way, we have the collections for you. I'm just going to show you a few choice examples of the type of fiction that we have just waiting for you. We have like 8 copies or 10 copies of a lot of these books, and they're just waiting on the shelf for you to pick for your book club. If you just wanted to order any of these because they sound interesting for you, you can also do that. All of these books are found for free through the library catalog, which I have linked down below for you. Definitely check out our website. There's all kinds of cool resources there for you. Now let's jump in. First of all, we have Isaac's Storm by Erik Larson. Now, you've probably heard of Erik Larson before. I'm just gonna show you a quick lineup of some of his best-selling nonfiction works. Well, Isaac's Storm was one of his very early successes, and he's become quite a famous guy. Well, this book is fairly slim, and it's about the most devastating natural disaster in American history, which is the hurricane that destroyed Galveston, Texas, back in the year 1900. Isaac Klein is a meteorologist who didn't see the signs of this hurricane coming, or at least didn't recognize them. I don't know if they had the technology to really understand how to detect a hurricane coming in. Regardless, this monster hurricane showed up and nobody was prepared, and it wiped out the entire town and killed 6,000 people. There is actually damage to the historical record because of this storm, because it wiped out like a bunch of immigration information and stuff like that. Let me just read you one of the quotes from the back. Erik Larson's accomplishment is to have made this great storm story a very human one, thanks to his use of a large number of survivors' accounts, without ignoring the hurricane itself. So it's actually based on the reports and testimonies of scores of survivors and Klein's own telegrams and letters and reports. So we're following Isaac as he's, I don't know exactly what his mission is during this time, but you know, it's supposed to be about the story of what can happen when human arrogance meets the uncontrollable force of nature. So I'm not sure how Isaac comes into that arrogance, or if he does, or if it's just a humanity in general is being arrogant, but it sounds like a very human story in the midst of a larger disaster story, which always calls to me personally, so I'm very intrigued by this. This is available for free as an ebook and as an audiobook through the library catalog. Order it down below or set it up with your book club. Next, we have A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. This is actually the favorite book of one of my friends on BookTube, Katie from Life Between Words. Now, she has over 9,000 subscribers who watch her videos, so you can tell that she understands popular taste and understands what people really like to read, and she loves this one. So I have great confidence that this is a beautiful, readable historical fiction story. This one is obviously set in Moscow. It's about a man named Count Roscoe. He's a 30-year-old count who has been sentenced by the Bolsheviks to house arrest in the very grand hotel called the Metropole, which is across the street from the Kremlin. And he's imprisoned with a number of other people, and so even though they are all physically imprisoned, he actually has an emotional awakening while he's there with these other people. So I'm guessing he builds some relationships with these people, and it's a moment of personal growth for him, and it just sounds really beautiful. The first book that was published by Amor Towles just skyrocketed in popularity. New York Times bestseller. I think it said in paperback and in hardcover. So Amor Towles used to be a investment professional. The best-selling Rules of Civility, that was his debut. This cover is just beautiful. It really calls to me. I definitely gotta try it. This is available for free as an ebook and as an audiobook, and you can get it in large type or audio CDs as well, all for free, all through the library catalog linked down below. A Gentleman in Moscow is my pick of the haul. That would be a good book club book. Next, we have Avenue of Mysteries by John Irving. This is the author of Cider House Rules. And as you can probably tell just by the cover, Mary, Mother of Jesus in sunglasses, this is probably kind of irreverent, would be my guess. Just reading a quote from the inside will give you guys a little kind of clue into the style of John Irving, if you're not familiar with him. Irving works his familiar themes, Catholicism, sex, death, with a light and assured touch, a welcome return to form. So if that sounds like something that would be interesting to you, check it out. I mean, he's a pretty decorated author here. There isn't really anything on here about the story itself, so I can't tell you about that, and I didn't look it up because honestly, it doesn't sound that interesting to me. But this does sound like a modern novel with a lot of humor and worth checking out if that sounds like something that you would like to try, or that that you already know that you like. And book clubs are a good time to try new things, I think, because you get to discuss them with people. Next, we have Emma by Jane Austen. Now, if I asked 10 of my friends what their favorite classic is, probably 9 of them would say something by Jane Austen. She is just incomparable with her social satire and her wit. Her humor is just so ever present. She does these fantastic characterizations. She often has eccentric characters, and some of her plots are quite complex, and it really shows how absurd the lives of women could sometimes be with their dance of social manners and being unable to just say things right out, and all the kinds of restrictions that ladies had to have on their lives. This particular one is one of the more hotly contested Austens because the heroine, people seem to either love her or hate her. Her name is Emma Woodhouse, and she's taking care of her very eccentric father who just can't seem to care for himself. She's much more practical than he is, and you get the sense that she's been taking care of him for a long time. She's kind of like his caretaker, and she sacrifices for others constantly, which is what her admirers often say. She's very generous with other people, but you are getting her inner narrative throughout this story, and she's kind of a misguided matchmaker, shall we say. She makes choices that hurt others in her life just based on her own impressions of what is best, and she's always trying to help, but she gets very meddlesome, so that is hard right off the bat. But because we're also seeing her inner monologue, which sometimes isn't as generous as her outer behavior, she's always very generous, and it is part of her growth arc. For me personally, I've read it once because I had to know what happened, and also because there's the wonderful Gwyneth Paltrow adaptation that, you know, everybody loves. And there's also Clueless. I think that's also an Emma retelling. And there's the brand new retelling as well, which might kind of revive your interest in this if you enjoyed the modern retelling. A lot of the people who really love this book didn't enjoy the retelling. A lot of people who didn't enjoy the book as much really enjoyed the retelling because it's a very funny, it's almost like a farcical kind of a movie. It's very beautifully shot, and it's very, very wickedly funny. So I really enjoyed the movie personally, because this novel is too stressful for me to actually reread. I tried to reread it once, and it was just so stressful watching Emma make so many bad decisions and kind of leading other people into making bad decisions, people who rely on her and think that she has such good judgment. They just expect her to be choosing for the best with them. But this might be right up your alley. It's a lot different to me than some of her other novels, and it just shows the broad range of characters that the author could have as her protagonists, because a lot of them are just very different. So I recommend checking this out. If you're not a fan of classics, I still recommend checking it out. They're so readable once you kind of get used to the language. Sometimes audiobooks can help with these. Once you kind of get a handle on the names, an audiobook can be really helpful. So I hope you'll check this out. Emma is available for free as an ebook and as an audiobook through the library catalog, linked down below. And finally we have And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. There was a whole lot of mysteries on our book club shelf. Obviously the people who picked these books were mystery fans. Now this is one of my favorite mysteries. I'm not actually normally a mystery reader, but this is a classic of the genre, and it's very, very compelling. Let me just read you the little ditty that it's based on. 10 little soldier boys went out to dine. One choked his little self, and then there were 9. 9 little soldier boys sat up very late. One overslept himself, and then there were 8. 8 little soldier boys traveling in Devon. One said he'd stay there, and then there were 7. And it goes on and on and on. One little soldier boy left all alone. He went and hanged himself. And then there were none. So I don't know if Agatha Christie based her book on that poem or what, or if it's just some kind of inspiration, but regardless, it sets an appropriately sinister tone to this kind of mystery thriller-esque story. So what happens in this story is 10 people are invited to an island. There's various stories that go along with their invitations to get them there. Somebody that they know is inviting them, supposedly. They all get there, realize they're stranded there together, and that there's a killer loose among them. I did watch the TV adaptation, and I enjoyed it right up until the end, where the book completely outshines the TV show, in my opinion. However, the TV show was very compelling, but this is so compelling itself, and it's not very long, that honestly, I would just say read the book. It's very good. This also cracks me up because on the back, in like giant bright orange letters, hopefully you can read that, the world's best-selling mystery. I don't know if that's true or not. It wouldn't surprise me. And Then There Were None is available for free as an ebook and as an audiobook through the library catalog linked down below. And that is it, my friends. I hope that you really enjoyed this book haul. I hope that you found something that you would like to try. I hope you're interested in starting or joining our library book club. There is a book club definitely that the library is doing by Zoom because I'm in that one. However, that's more of a share your most recent favorite reads or whatever you're reading and enjoying right now kind of a book club. We don't have like necessarily a book pick every time, although sometimes we do. We have read a Georgette Hare book, The Swiss Family Robinson and Robinson Crusoe. We've read one other book that I can't recall. Regardless, if you would like to join that one or start your own, we do have the collection here for you, and we would love to have you in our Zoom book club. So make sure you ask us if you have any questions about that. Ask us down below in the comments, or if you want to add anything else, let us know in the comments. And make sure you check out the links down below in the description. If you want to order any of these books, you can just copy and paste the titles that I have down below. If you copy and paste those directly into the library catalog, all of the results will come up. That's all you need to do to order your free books. Thank you so much, guys. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.